Greetings and welcome to another episode of Visions, Dreams, and Insights. And Autumn has flexed her muscle. A couple of days ago we had a nip that came through overnight, and there was in fact frost on the pumpkin and on the lawns and trees here in the Midwest. Of course, down south, less of a transition, but nonetheless it is that season when autumn is winding down and preparing for this next stage, which is the unfolding of winter, and we will be laying things to rest. Things will be moving into that dormant season and getting ready to rejuvenate as spring approaches next year. And of course, for all my people in Australia, New Zealand, and various other places south of the equator, this is kind of the flip side. You're already approaching that beginning of spring launching into summer. So I would imagine things are building into a cacophony of color and sound and pleasure on the other side of the planet. But nonetheless, as we're approaching this final passage into the autumnal season, we have very interesting full moon coming up on Thursday, and I'm liking the position of the moon and the planets for this particular event, simply because I'm looking at the chart and it's looking very, very optimistic. I think there's tremendous potential within this one. As we examine the placement of the planets, we'll notice that the Sun will be in a very, very nice tight trine to Chiron in Pisces. And that's actually a very significant placement. It's an opportunity to heal the wounds from the past and to finally let go. And I think this is going to occur, or it has a potential to occur, on a multitude of different levels, because we have some other significant players in the spin. Most notably, we will have a conjunction of Mars and Pluto. Mars and Pluto are very similar. They have a very similar response to events and to circumstances. They vibrate on the level of the inner world and the outer world. Mars is the inner world, Pluto is the outer world, and that'll be sextiling the Sun and Venus, setting in Scorpio, and it'll also be sextiling Chiron, setting in the sign of Pisces. So really kind of an interesting arrow effect here. If you look at it, it looks like the head of an arrow, and I'm envisioning that as being significant toward approaching the future with a clean slate. And here for us, this final passage of autumn brought, as I mentioned before, that frost, and now all the tomato vines have turned black, and the marigolds have turned a deep pumpkin yellow, and everything is wilting and falling apart. But we're reminded of renewal in the presence of the conifers, the evergreens that do just that. They stay green and bright year-round, and that is giving us that sense of there is a future ready for us. There is growth, there is greenness and regeneration on the horizon. The primary vision that I had in association with all of these confabulations going on within the heavens was images of cranes, and the cranes were flying south. Cranes are very elegant and engaging birds. They're fascinating to watch, and it seems that they've been around forever, because some of the earliest fossil records in North America are actually remnants of cranes from 60,000 plus years ago. So they are prehistoric. They are within that image a somewhat enduring creature. Although unfortunately with current conditions we have put most of them on the endangered species list. So hopefully we'll see a comeback of cranes globally. But cranes are somewhat territorial. They mate for life, like many animals in the animal kingdom, many birds. Eagles mate for life. So endurance and continuity are definitely strong themes that are being highlighted with this vision. But more importantly, I think this full moon is about social patterns and social visibility and recognizing your place in the social order and contributing. Cranes will do a dance, which is very elegant and very fascinating. Sometimes the dances are related to mating rituals. Sometimes the dances are ways of scaring off possible predators. But more importantly, many times cranes dance just for the sake of dancing, just for the fun of it. And within that process, it's not unusual to see them pick up sticks and toss them around. And that's kind of an autumnal vision too. I mean, who hasn't walked down a country lane with covered with autumn leaves after a good storm and picked up a stick and tossed it just for the sake of doing something? So within that image of the crane, I think that right now we're moving into a period here where it's time to finish up the work, time to do something. Cranes are also known for being very protective of family and offspring. They have a small progeny. They usually only have 1 or 2 chicks a year, and within that they tend to be very secretive about where their home is, and they'll often go to great lengths, even covering themselves with mud to add to the camouflage so that people aren't able, or animals aren't able, to track them to their nest. So the crane is giving us a lot of different concepts for finishing up the final phase of autumn here, and then preparing to migrate, whether that be spiritually or emotionally or mentally, into new territory, warmer territory. So as the cranes start to ascend into the skies, into the heavens, and head southerly, you'll probably want to put some attention on that idea of creating a warm and comfortable nest for the family, a place where you can have friends, a place where you can engage in intimate exchange, and settle in for a long winter that is going to be ripe with possibilities, ripe with potential. The one other thing I'll mention before I wind up this particular video is that another very pleasant placement astrologically is the position of Mercury in Libra for this full moon, and that is dealing with the idea of pleasing communication. So working on being cordial, working on being respectful, working on initiating only when you feel like it's proper to initiate, but practicing being a good listener is a very important part of this coming full moon passage. So perhaps getting out there at night and looking at the brilliant silvery moon in the sky, you will see the silhouettes of cranes in their migratory patterns. What would be more lovely? For Native Americans in the Midwest around the Great Lakes, it's also a time of harvesting the final vestiges of wild rice. So getting prepared for that big Thanksgiving feast. So anyway, here's hoping that you have a glorious full moon. Get out there, share the love, pass love around, and send me some feedback. Let me know what you think of the direction the videos are going. And I'll be talking to you soon.
When they yo, no one, no, no, no.